Orville Season 3, 2 months away. Let's rank Season 2 episodes. Hey there, it's Tom. Tom's Tech Show. I do things on this channel, kind of like I do technology things. I've got all the videos about VMware and AWS and scripting and all those kinds of things on this channel. And I also do things like, some TV show reviews and movie reviews and stuff, things like that over here, just to keep myself interested in what's going on. Anything hard hitting, you want something that's heavy, you want something that's really dug into politics and news and heavy pop culture stuff, then head over to Tom's Talk Show, and that will get you there. And a lot of that stuff, and yeah, I'm starting to get deep over there. I'm trying to make a video a day over there, so that should be a good channel for you to subscribe to. There'll be a link down in the description to jump over there. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, then I would appreciate that. I made a video on the Star Wars Galactic Starship Thing Hotel, which kind of blew up and exploded. Thank you everyone who subscribed. I try to make pretty good quality content and make things that are very interesting to me, so that I'm, invested and excited, so that you don't come here and see somebody, God, I hate the videos where they're just sitting there reading, it's a web page and they're just reading the web page. I know some are like mechanical readers that read the web page, but some are just people that read the web page. I can't stand that. I'll turn those videos off like immediately. I mean, Tim Pool's been doing that a lot now and again, and there's other issues with Tim Pool that I'm stopping watching him anyway. But there you go. But today we are 2 months away from Orville Season 3, and I'm so excited. I'm very excited about that coming back. There's so much lacking in good, Star Trek type next generation science fiction, which, I grew up on Star Trek, the original series, right? We would have dinner, and it was on at like 5:30 or something. I think it was on at 5:30. It was on like on the half hour or something like that. On one of the, on channel 40 or whatever, you got to adjust the antenna, correct and stuff. And we would watch those things, relentlessly every day. It was just on. Dinner, turn on Star Trek, there you go. We knew all the lines, we knew exactly what was coming, and everything. And then, Next Generation hit, and just stayed tuned, just always, after the first couple seasons, then it really, kind of took off in filling out where the characters were and everything else. And that's where we are with the Orville, right? We're past Season 2. The characters really getting set. Things are really in motion. They've taken and redone the bridge, so it looks just amazing now. So I'm so ready. Can you tell I'm just ready? I'm ready for the show to start. Okay, so we're going to rank these episodes out here. So coming in at number 13 is the Geology one. It was the one I think that was carried over from Season 1. So it was cute. It had, relationship things going on. I don't want to say it's a throwaway kind of episode, but it's one of those light episodes where you don't have to really dig into it and get into it and all that. So, and now that's, kind of one of the, I think one of the Orville fan greetings is Geology, so that's what the big thing that came out of that episode, I think. Okay, number 12, a happy refrain. We finally get Dr. Finn in order to be able to have a relationship, and that was good. The problem is with these episodes is they're so good, most of them. There's so much to them. They're different. Like, some are very different than others, and they're good. This was very good, reaction between Isaac and then him changing back to, in their little simulator, being able to change back into, kind of a person and simulate that, so they can kind of have this relationship, and he can kind of figure that out back and forth. That was pretty good. Kind of thing, digging into that. But anyway, it comes in at number 12. Just I think mostly because there's so many other good episodes. So number 11 is the Primal Urges. This is the one where Bortus kind of gets stuck into the holodeck kind of addiction, which is I put up here. There's also the Star Trek Next Generation Hollow Pursuits. It was kind of the same kind of thing. Barclay gets hung up in the holodeck scene there and stuff. So it's similar. They do, and I like that. I like that sometimes they'll take an episode that was Next Generation, original series, something like that, and redo it, put a nice new flavor on it, put a more relevancy on it. So it's good. I mean, it pays homage to, pays respect to the old series and stuff. Okay, so number 10 is Deflectors. This is where they're upgrading the deflectors, and they have the Mocklins on board, and one of them gets killed and stuff, and there's a whole kind of investigative thing going on about that. And the new character, Jessica Zora's Tala, comes in and kind of tries to set her character on the ship, and it does a really really good job. It really really was good bringing her in and stuff, because they were switching out Halston Sage and stuff, and she went on to Prodigal Son, where don't get me started about Prodigal Son, because that show was canceled and it's not being picked up anywhere. And if any show needed to be picked up and continued, Prodigal Son. I mean, if you watch through that whole thing, it keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole time and stuff. If you go, I mean, knowing that it ends after 2 seasons, you can still go back and watch it and still be able to go, oh my gosh, about half the time you're just on the edge of your seat. But anyway, so that's good for Halston Sage. She got through that, but I'm sure she's probably doing some other things. Maybe she'll come back and make another guest appearance in season 3. We are hoping, of course. But this was good, a pretty good episode there. Episode 9, All the World is a Birthday Cake. This is really a episode, I think, that really touched on something in society where they just do so well with mimicking some things in society, right? Because this episode had, they have all this technology. I love how the screens on there look very like LCARs from Star Trek. I mean, they're just very close, to that. That's very, very cool. I just got to notice that in this screenshot that I picked out here. But so we have all this technology. We have, our phones. They can do all kinds of things, get us all kinds of information and stuff. And there are people who believe in really crazy things that have been wholly and completely and absolutely known to be, disproven and false and everything else. And you can Google things and look them up in an instant and find out that, oh, this has been completely debunked and horrible, and this does nothing for you and stuff. And then, but there are people that believe it and wholeheartedly in it. It's, so that's what these people were doing. They're believing that if you were born during these months, that, this star that was there went away. So if you were born in these months, suddenly you're horrible. We don't need you in society and things like that. It's like, come on. When you were born and what day you were born and all those things makes no difference as to whether you're productive in society or anything like that. I mean, come on. So that kind of really reflected that. And I don't know if I mean, Seth MacFarlane, I think, wrote this. Robert Duncan McNeil of Voyager directed it. So I don't know if Seth MacFarlane had someone in his family or something that was into something like, your horoscopes or anything like that, got really dug into it and couldn't let it go and all that, because that's kind of what it kind of seems like. So just really a telling story there. Okay, number 8 is Home. This is where we lose Halson Sage for good, where she goes back because she has a problem dealing with the lighter gravity in the world of Earth, and how it's simulated on the ship and stuff. So she needs to go back to her heavy gravity planets where she lives and stuff. So that was pretty good. All the stuff that was going on in there. I mean, I might have moved this one a little bit further up, maybe back to the 10 or 11, but it was oh my gosh, it's just really hard to rate these episodes and stuff. So okay, so number 7 is Nothing Left on Earth Excepting Fishes. This is one that where the captain gets taken off by this one person who used to be. She was in another episode, and she was hiding as she was in the one episode where they went and disabled Scott Grimes, Gordon Malloy, and Captain Mercer disguised themselves and went on their ship, and then came back, and then trying to get the Book of Avis, right? And she was on that. This one character was on that ship, and then came back and kidnapped Captain Mercer, and then comes around. They finally, instead of keeping her and imprisoning her at the end, he does the gracious thing and says, I think it was Billy Joel that was on the little memory chip that he gave her. And she says, well, this doesn't change anything. I'm like, I think it does, and we'll see. So, yeah, just very captainly, very over the top, kind of a Picard maneuver, kind of going against the thing and extending grace and things like that. So, yeah, good. Then Blood of Patriots. So this was where they're signing a treaty, I believe, because this is an later episode. This is like episode 10, which is later, and they're and one of Gordon's friends, they found one of Gordon's friends, and he had been obsessed because his wife had been killed by these people, and that really, it ingrained in him. He'd been in prison for a long time, and that how those, you have certain things that just wear on you and just dig down on you, and people do you wrong and you can't forgive them or let it go or anything like that, and that really, it really can cause your mind just to dig into it and not let it go, and then your anger just builds and builds and builds, and then all you're thinking about is revenge. It's a human frailty, which is what Star Trek often was about in the the classic racism episode in the 60s, Let That Be Your Last Battlefield, where Lokai and Sharon were the two characters, and one was black on the right side, one was black on the left side, and just by those differences they ended up hating each other over the years. And that how do you get to that point? It's crazy. It's like, and all the people on the Enterprise are like, well, you're black on one side, white on the other. And he goes, no, he's black on the right side, all my people are white on the right side. And it's like, okay, this is ridiculous. This is crazy. This is such a huge racism story back then. Do that. And this is a revenge kind of deep-seated anger kind of story. It ends up really good. The Gordon Malloy character really has to shine through and put his life on the line in the end, and that made that one. The Sanctuary, directed by Jonathan Frakes, who of course we all know as number one from Next Generation. This is part of the during the negotiations to hold the Kalon at bay, and stuff. The Mocklins, the Mocklin females have been hiding out in this sanctuary, and it's kind of found out that it's there, and that ends up being kind of a sticking point in the whole negotiations. That the rest of the Mocklins don't want the female Mocklins to be around anymore. They're and they want them to be destroyed, but but they need the Mocklins in order to be able to defend themselves against the Kalon. So it's this whole democracy, diplomatic kind of thing going on, and showing so much, all the negotiation things and things that you have to do to we'll give up on this if you give up on that, kind of back and forth thing in an intergalactic government. It was some good political intrigue, some good little battle scenes and fighting scenes and stuff like that. So just really, really, really good. So that's my number 5. Then tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. This, it was, if you think the premise is based on a very small kind of joke that because Ed called Kelly the day right after their first date and asked for a second date, that something in the timeline happens to where she doesn't go out on the second date, and it throws the rest of. No, this is the one. Wait, this is the one where they're playing with the little time machine. This is before that. Okay, we're still getting to that other episode. So tomorrow, they're playing with this little thing that can do some time kind of things, and they zap it, and it brings the Kelly from the past to the present, and they have to go about and try and find how to get her back, and crazy things ensue. But just the Adrian Palicki being able to converse and talk with herself and have a little bit different attitudes, like she's having the older attitudes of Kelly from the past, and being able to talk with those attitudes and thoughts of the Kelly from the future, back and forth. And just the special effects work that they started way back in Next Generation, we kind of see where they've moved. I mean, it used to be in Star Trek, the original series, somebody would beam down, okay? So there would be no one in a scene, the people would beam down, and then they would show up there, and then as soon as they get there and they're there, then all these people would run through. Because you couldn't have people moving when the people are beaming in. So you have to have nobody in the scene, and then they beam in, and then people start moving. Then Next Generation comes around, and they start doing, okay, people are moving around in the back and people are beaming in and out, right? So there's people who are in the transporter room, and you see them moving levers and things around, and while the people are moving, so you don't need an independent blank frame to beam the people out. You can isolate and on just the people beaming away from the other action, and it can all be the same. And then they started having people, like when they're doing Data episodes where we had Data and Laura, Dr. Sung, all in the same scenes, they could have them there walking backward, in front of each other and behind each other and stuff like that. And they're really making things good here. They're having them touch each other, and I think they like shake hands or put their hands on them or something, and do things like that, where they're the two characters being played by the same actress. You see them really heavily being able to interact, and timing was really well. Just really, really amazing special effects and stuff. That's really why I really liked how this episode turned out. Okay. So number 3 is, this is the one. Okay. This is the one where Kelly, so after this episode, when they send the old Kelly back to her own time, something happens, and when they go for the second date, she says no, and it sends everything into Crazy Town, because the Orville is not commanded by Captain Mercer. It's not there. It doesn't happen. So his decisions don't get made, and things go a little bit crazy, and they have to try and get that fixed. A lot of good action, a lot of good things happen, and a lot of good funny parts. Like they get this little food replicator back into their shuttle that they're flying around, and what do you want? What's the first thing you're gonna, are you gonna make? The first thing that you have replicated once you get that thing working, is it gonna be like a T-bone steak? Is it gonna be no? He orders a Twinkie. Like, well, you probably could have found a Twinkie that's a few thousand years old, but already, but no. Okay, but that was pretty good, very good action and all that stuff, and that brings back Halson Sage for a uh, guest appearance, which was nice to have her back there again. So okay, so this next one is lasting impressions. This has a guest appearance by Tim Russ, Tuvok from Voyager. Pulling all these names out of my head. I guess I'm not completely senile. Anyway, so lasting impressions. They have this time capsule, has all these things in it. They find an old iPhone and find a way to power it. And Gordon uses all the information from the phone to create a simulation of this woman's life, and basically falls in love with her, because she's so real from what they could get from the phone. She actually it's amazing. She's actually a real live actual. The actress is actually a musician, an actual singer. So she was able to sing during some of the episodes, during parts of the episode and stuff, and just the song they sing is amazing. They do a duet and everything, and it just this one almost brings you to tears. Like, this is just one of those episodes is like, yeah, that's heartfelt, that's touching, that's was good. That puts it right up here at number 2 on my list of episodes. But so the final episode is actually 2 episodes. I think you'll know what these are. Identity and Identity Part 2. This was the epitome, was the pinnacle of season 2, where the ship gets taken to the Kalon world where they go to the Kalon world because Isaac has malfunctioned, they think, and they want to get him fixed. And this spurs on that the Kalon now are thinking, well, we've destroyed all the people that created us, so we need to take over the rest of the universe, and because they're imperfect, and we need to make it's really a cross of Cylons and V'ger, and even the original series had the one, I forget the name of the robot. It wasn't V'ger. It was one of the other little probes that they found, and it was seeking to sterilize anything that was imperfect. So kind of a combination of all of that, and I mean the Kalon are unique enough that they just kind of pay homage and to all the other things that it's kind of somewhat copying. But I mean, the action sequences, the battle sequences, the number of ships involved, all these different things are just like, wow, are you sure that your budget isn't completely movie level? Because the amazingness of all of that was just crazy that they got through that, and that there were real consequences, and that were people actually being killed and everything else during the episodes. It wasn't original series. You had all the red shirts that died, and Next Generation, every once in a while you'd have somebody die, but these were like real battles, real consequences, all things like that. Just amazing television, and I'm so looking forward to season 3 now that they've got bigger budgets, longer episodes, all that coming around. Just can't wait. March 10th is coming, and we have our Hulu. Of course, we use Hulu for our regular live TV, and yeah, what's your favorite episode? You know, let me know in the comments below, and subscribe to this channel, and go over and look at my Tom's Talk Show channel. That's I'll leave a link down below. I need some good sci-fi. I need some, you know. I mean, we went and saw Spider-Man, and that was just completely amazing. Can't, you know, it's a little bit too tear-jerky at the end, I think, but yeah. All right, here we go. Orville season 3 on its way. Thanks for watching. Take care.